So I'm not going to assume that you guys know Fairmatic, so I'll just mention what we do. It might be useful for context. So we're a commercial auto insurtech company, and we're using AI front and center already. The reason we exist actually is a very special data set and our ability to use that data set to do pricing and underwriting better using AI. So it is very much core to what we do, but Gen AI came out of the left field and opened up a lot more opportunities. And so we try to think about new tools in a structured way. And I'm going to share with you the kind of framing that we are using internally and the kind of hiring that we're using in order to benefit from new trends or new technology, new tools of this sort, but also protect our ability to stay focused. Because probably most founders on this call will agree that the one thing that startups cannot be successful without is focus. And so from some of the amazing applications and use cases and POCs that you've seen, it's easy to get really inspired, but also it's really important to remember that we're very early on in the development of this technology. This is like, the third step into a 10,000 kilometer journey, and it will surely develop and change a lot. And the velocity and amount of innovation that comes out in this space is also creating a little bit of a whiplash or vertigo for many technologists. And so the distraction factor for engineering teams and product teams that they're trying to actually keep focus can be pretty high. We have at Fairmatic a structure that I'm not sure many other startups have. We have a concept of an office of CEO where the chief of staff and sometimes an analyst or two are working on both execution and strategy projects, and kind of the variety of different left field opportunities and risks that a startup faces, but don't fall squarely into any one particular team. And I found over the previous years of another startup, that's a really good way to create leverage for myself and the organization while keeping the team focused on execution. And so we started engaging with the office of CEO, asking kind of top down and bottom up, what does Gen AI mean for us? And then sharing some of these insights with the board and with the team, and getting feedback and understanding what it means. So within insurtech and within insurance, there's obviously a lot. Charles mentioned or hinted at that there's big opportunities there. Even if you don't look at the core of what can be done with Gen AI, a lot of what insurance companies do can be conceptually described as text in, text out, with a bunch of human busy work in the middle. And so mapping out the processes and being really smart about where we use these tools and what we use them for is a big part of how we view Gen AI. Obviously, being a tech company, we also write code. We have a fast growing engineering organization. And so we want to benefit from that, whether it's product design, engineering. Gen AI can accelerate and boost productivity quite a lot. At Fairmatic, we deal with a variety of different customers or segments that we try to delight. We have brokers that we try to delight, we have fleet managers we try to delight, and we have drivers we try to delight. And for each and every one of them, you can conceptually think of a different roadmap and different touch points. And so within, again, each one of these use cases, there's opportunities for Gen AI. But before we kind of toss the organization into a 6 months hackathon and rejigger our entire roadmap, we said, okay, well, this is still early on and things are shifting quite a bit. How do we stay bleeding edge, keep ourselves educated, and reap some of the rewards of the low-hanging fruit without creating too much distraction? So there is consensus in our senior leadership team and our board that this is very meaningful and we want to lean into this, but also we want to be cautious and we want to make sure that we don't, miss on our plan because we get really excited by something shiny. And so one of the important voices that priority of these discussions is, hey, Gen AI is a hammer. Not everything is nail. You want to make sure that you start with a problem statement before you jump into the solution. And so I'm a technologist, he's a technologist. We're a technology company. Everyone's really excited about trying new things, but we want to do that with kind of the diligence and the discipline that will reach the best results. Office of CEO worked hard trying to map out what we do as a business, and then map out the type of things that Gen AI could do. This is very top-down, based on very superficial understanding of these technologies, and then call out some of the kind of lower-hanging fruit. And we did this mapping, we realized that, hey, there's a bunch of stuff that people are building dedicated solutions for, and so spinning up teams and trying to build them in-house, not necessarily the smartest ROI. So sometimes it's better to watch and see what actually transpires, but also that there are going to be areas where it makes sense for us to jump in, and this tension between picking up the new technology and changing product roadmap and staying focused is the one that led us to our approach to solving the staffing around this or the strategy prioritization around this. And so, before I jump into that, we also try to, within the productivity segment, try to get inspired by some of the work that other people were doing, analyzing what would be the impact on various startup structures. And Tomas, some of you know him, he used to be at Redpoint. He used to be at Redpoint. He's a prolific writer. He did kind of a pro forma analysis of what would be the impact on a typical SaaS company of deploying Gen AI. This would probably be short to medium term. Longer term, I think some of these numbers will be different. And so we use some of that framing, looked at the type of activities that we have as a company, built some of our own assumptions, and try to understand what's going to be the yield. And this is obviously too early to embed it into our financial model, which we try to be conservative about these type of things, but it's a part of making decision or motivation. Is this actually worth spending the time and training or testing new technologies and new solutions? The approach that we chose was to actually bring into the office of CEO a new person, and we looked for someone who would fit the title of Gen AI hacker. And the idea is to involve this person and have them kind of be the tip of the spear for our organization in advising the office of CEO and myself on the company strategy around this technology. Right, so the office of CEO is where a lot of company strategy, medium, long term, is being produced, and so being the expert and the voice in those discussions and helping us build that, obviously working very tightly with leadership in engineering and insurance and product. The second one is to be a catalyst for bringing the right tools and testing the right technologies to improve some of the operations of the company. And so these are things that I think others in the presentation called out earlier, boosting productivity, reducing costs, and improving customer experience. And so each and every one of them is its own, roadmap and research project effectively, and testing and speaking to a lot of companies. That's the second area. And the third area is to build POCs and to be a point person for hackathons, many of which will be themed around Gen AI, to bring the organization closer to the front and to educate people about this technology and about what's possible, but also to be the person that also understands the different pain points, either for internal or external customers, and then connect that with solutions that are available outside or with our own strategy and our own product roadmap. And so our approach to getting further on Gen AI is with a very talented gentleman that is actually in San Francisco at the moment. Joined us just a few days ago. He has a special background. So Yaniv is currently in San Francisco, actually meeting with OpenAI, and he has quite an unusual background. He is a former photographer and been around various startups in various stages and growth trajectories, and also had a kind of general business responsibilities. And in the interview process, it really came true that he has a lot of really good product thinking. And I think this is another thing that came out from one of the presentations earlier, that engineers that are dealing with these tools can benefit a lot from thinking like PMs. And so he has that. And interestingly, also, we interviewed a lot of people that are AI experts, and what we found is that this technology is so fresh. And if you think about it, unless you're actually building your own foundational model or are going into the hardware business, you're going to be basically consuming these things through APIs. And so understanding developer documentation is crucial, but understanding how these models are built and how to make them better is probably not the first line that's necessary in order to help an organization build a strategy or POCs around these new technologies. I think that's the summary for us, and hope this was useful.